He had breathed life into it. And that was when I started to think, this could be something. For the last decade of my working life, I earned a living with a camera. It wasn't until I'd been retired for a few years that, with the help of my son, I decided to write my first song. It turned out to be a song about a legend, and this is the backstory. Well, I can hardly claim to be any sort of a musician. Strumming a few chords on guitar and singing other people's songs around a campfire is about my limit. On the other hand, my eldest son is a musician and a school teacher. And it was around a campfire in 2018 that Dylan suggested to me that we should try to write some songs together. Well, I wondered how that might work, given that Dylan's favourite genres of music are death metal and heavy metal. These are types of music that I teasingly refer to as angry music. But I thought about it for a while and I said, we should write a song about Ray. And Dylan said, hell yeah! Ray Mepham and his wife Edna are truly salt of the earth people. Ray's one of nature's gentlemen, and at 88 he's still running his sheep property, Little Valley, near Inverell in northern New South Wales. To us, Ray really is a living legend. Ray was the first person to breed Murray cod in captivity after the pioneering work of the eminent New South Wales fisheries biologist John Lake. Ray first bred Murray cod in farm dams in 1970. Since then, Ray's been a force in the propagation and restocking of native fish in waterways across northern New South Wales and southern Queensland. But our song Big Water is not about Ray's admirable work in fish conservation. It's a tribute to his role as a river watcher. As a youngster, Ray did something that no teenager in the modern era could emulate. In 1948, at the age of 17, he'd saved enough money by trapping rabbits for their skins to buy a large block of land that encompasses the majority of the McIntyre River Gorge. The Brothers are two prominent hills, one either side of the river, where the McIntyre leaves its gorge and meanders west to the town of Inverell, where I was born in 1955. In 1955, Ray was on horseback watching a record flood come out of the gorge and race towards Inverell. He saw an RAAF bomber fly in from the west on a survey flight. It was checking on the welfare of towns along the river. Ray heard the sound of the bomber's mighty Rolls-Royce Merlin engines, and he saw its gun turrets as it flew over him and the brothers and disappeared in the east. It was an Avro Lincoln bomber, a post-war variant of the famous Lancaster bomber that raided Germany in the 1940s. I found some Lancaster bomber footage on the internet and have obtained the owner's permission to use it in our music video. Over the years, Ray kept an eye on the river during big rain events and would ring the State Emergency Services depot in Inverell when floods were imminent. Very early in the morning in February 1976, Ray was awoken by the roar of the river. He went down to the river gauge on Little Valley to find the McIntyre raging. He quickly went back to his house and called the State Emergency Services through the manual exchange at Elsmore to warn the people that big water was coming down again. The flood peak hit Inverell at daybreak and the water spilled into the main streets. The 76 flood was spawned by a tropical cyclone that crossed the North Queensland coast above Cairns more than a week earlier. It went across the Gulf and into the Northern Territory, where it degenerated into a massive rain depression, and over the course of the next few days it made its way south through Central Australia, and it deluged the McIntyre catchment above Inverell on its way back out to the Pacific Ocean. From the outset, Dylan and I kindled a hope that we could produce a song that was an authentic Australian story worthy of being played on the radio. We have no ambitions to be the next big thing in Australian country music, that's for sure. We wanted to produce a competent demo of our song and an associated video and just put it out there and see what happened. We thought that if it was good enough, there might be a chance that an established Australian artist would be interested in picking it up and recording it. We did have an artist in mind from the start, and that artist's style influenced the way that we went about crafting the song. Coming down. It had to be a shoestring production. We don't have money to risk. I felt that I could cover the lyrics and perhaps the melody, and I purchased a MIDI keyboard to tap out the bones of a melody on my computer. I emailed the lyrics and the melody to Dylan in Gilgandra, along with some cringe-worthy vocal sketches that I recorded on my mobile phone during morning walks when ideas would come to me. Over the course of a weekend, Dylan set about crafting his first arrangement using the raw materials I'd sent him, his guitars and some drum software. Well, a few days later, an MP3 file arrived by email. And when I listened to Dylan singing his first cut of the arrangement, I got goosebumps. He had breathed life into it. And that was when I started to think, this could be something. Between us, we had adequate equipment for home recording. I purchased a microphone and an interface. Dylan already had that equipment. And at the next school holiday break, Dylan came over and we lined a bedroom of the house with mattresses and had our first recording session together. Well, that turned out to be the easy part. Our competencies hit a brick wall when it came to mixing and mastering the various instrument and vocal tracks. But I was feeling encouraged, and I thought that we may have more than one song in us. And I thought it would be worthwhile trying to develop some basic self-sufficiency in mixing and mastering for future work. I enrolled in an online mixing and mastering course run by an audio engineer in the UK and worked through it in the months while I was putting together the video for our song. There were occasional highs, periods of optimism and discovery when I thought I was making some progress, but there were also some low periods of self-doubt when I thought my oldies probably just aren't up to doing this job properly. Realistically, I knew that whatever I might be able to learn to do in a short space of time could never compare to the work of a professional audio engineer. But our aspirations weren't that lofty. Our goal was simply to create a competent demo, something that when people listen to it, they might think, yeah, that's not bad, that's okay. As opposed to something that when people listened to it, they thought, oh, that is just cringeworthy. We didn't want to embarrass ourselves. Well, it's now almost a year since we started this project. I'm pretty tired. It's been some journey. I've been challenged. I've had to learn some new skills to try to make this thing work. All along we've had wonderful support and encouragement from family and musical friends, and I'm particularly grateful to my darling wife Ruby for her patience. I know that at times I've been zombie-like as I've immersed myself in this process, and that my selective hearing has probably been much worse than normal. So thank you very much for your support, Ruby Ann. Well, that's it. We've done the best we can. It's almost time now to let it go and see if it can fly. Fingers crossed.
Big water, it's coming down.
Thanks, mate.
Whackers, that's the rest of the day.
Good fun.
Yeah, it's cool.